What's up, Desktoppers? In this video, I discuss whether Dexter the Blade Jackson is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and I compare him to guys like Ronnie Coleman and Arnold Schwarzenegger and how their records match up, and I've got all the stats on Dexter Jackson and these other guys. So if you guys like these videos, give me a thumbs up and like this video. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell button, and that way you'll be notified of every video that goes up for myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. Anyway guys, on with the video. What's up, Desktoppers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video. And to celebrate Dexter Jackson's 50th birthday, we're discussing whether he is the GOAT, the greatest of all time in bodybuilding, and we have some great comparisons coming out for you guys. And I've got massive stats on this one as well, so I'll run through some of them to start with. Dexter, this is all, by the way, courtesy of musclememory.com. They've got an awesome database of contest history for all the bodybuilders pretty much on the planet. So, Dexter Jackson, according to Muscle Memory and what I've counted up, he's done 90 pro contests. He has 82 top 5 finishes. That is 91.1% of the contests he's entered as a pro. He's finished top 5. He has 65 top 3 finishes. That's 72.2% of contests he's finished in the top 3. And 29 pro wins, which is 32.2%. So basically, just about every third show that Dexter Jackson enters, he wins. If he had one more of those was a win, he would have a perfect 33.3 recurring win percentage in the IFBB Pro League. Now, Dexter Jackson had a very celebrated career. He did have 5 Arnold Classic Columbus titles. Well, he does have 5 Arnold Classic Columbus titles, 9 total Arnold Classics. So that's almost a third of his pro wins are Arnold Classic titles, whether it's Arnold Classic Europe or wherever, or Arnold Classic Australia and so on. Now, it's a very impressive record. In 2008, that was the year he broke through and won the Mr Olympia, looking sensational and beating out an off Jay Cutler, and he really did deserve that Olympia. And everyone said this is the era when, aesthetics come back and the right guy won, and it was cool to see. But in 2009, Jay came back, obviously, and as we know what happened, he took back his title, and that made it Dexter Jackson's only Mr Olympia title. But Dexter isn't done. He said he's coming in better next year. He put up a post recently saying that too, by the way. Now, let's compare him a little bit. Now, I just want to say, firstly, 2008 was his best year by far. He had 5 pro wins, no losses, no second places. He was all wins that year. He won the Arnold Classic to start the year. He won the Arnold Classic, the Australian Grand Prix, as it was back then, the New Zealand Grand Prix. He won the Romanian Grand Prix, and he obviously won the Mr Olympia. So a stellar year in 2008 for Dexter Jackson. Now, let's compare him. So obviously the one-time Mr Olympia. Let's compare him to some Mr Olympias that have won a few more titles. Now, someone else that, is called a lot of time the greatest of all time, and that's Ronnie King Coleman. Now, he has 40 top 3 finishes compared to 65. So Dexter has 25 more top 3 finishes than Ronnie Coleman, the great. Ronnie has 26 pro wins, so he's only a couple behind Dexter Jackson. So not too far behind, considering he did a lot less contests. And the big thing that separates Ronnie, he was 8 years judged the best bodybuilder on the planet. Dexter only got that once. So while Dexter was super consistent throughout his career, he only got that one Mr Olympia title compared to Ronnie's 8. So for me, I'd have to say Ronnie is a better bodybuilder. He's more of a GOAT than Dexter Jackson. Now, let's compare Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, this guy, a lot of people call him the GOAT because of what he's done, not only in bodybuilding. He's the first guy to go on a massive streak of Mr Olympias and won 6 in a row, I believe it was, and then he had a break, came back in 1980 and won his 7th in controversial fashion. But he did a huge amount for bodybuilding. He was really the poster child. He was Joe Weider's, basically almost like the son that he didn't have, He basically almost raised by Joe when he came to America, and he really made something of himself, and he's one of the top movie stars in the world right now, which is a massive influence on bodybuilding right now. He's obviously got the Arnold Classic, he's got Arnold Classic titles. Does this come into the conversation of is he the greatest of all time? I don't know. It really comes down to personal opinion on what people think is the greatest of all time. I mean, Arnold did what he did, and he had the physique he had and it was the best in the world at the time. So he did what he needed to do to be the best in the world. But obviously, Arnold moved to movies like Conan the Barbarian. That's where he got his big break. And, he went down that path, and that was extremely successful. And he brought a lot of notoriety to bodybuilding back then. And bodybuilding, in my opinion, wouldn't be where it is today without Arnold Schwarzenegger. It would still be, a big industry, but it wouldn't be the same. I think it'd be a bit different. So Arnold, you can make a case for him being the greatest of all time. Now, physique-wise, definitely not. He wouldn't beat the guys of today. He just wouldn't. He'd be last in the Mr. Olympia. Now, people might get a little bit upset about that, but that's just the facts. He doesn't have the muscle to compare to the big, shredded guys of today. And the conditioning back in Arnold's day really wasn't spot on like it is today or through the 90s, as we saw the conditioning come in heaps through the 80s and 90s. So Arnold, physique-wise, also with the titles he won, he had, when you go through and look at his, Mr. Universes and Mr. America titles, all the pro contests, he had 12 pro wins. So he only had 5 wins outside of Mr. Olympia, but there wasn't the contests as well that there is these days. So you can only judge him on what he's actually done in the contests he could have done. So you can make an argument there. Who do you think is the greatest all time? Is it Dexter Jackson? Is it Ronnie Coleman? Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger? Is it someone else? Let me know in the comments below, guys. But I've got to tell you, Dexter Jackson, on his 50th birthday, I've got to give him that he's the most consistent bodybuilder of all time. And he goes down as a greater bodybuilder than some of these bodybuilders that have actually won more Mr. Olympia titles than him. So Dexter Jackson, by far the best bodybuilder that has won 1 or less Mr. Olympia titles. There is no doubting that. So Dexter Jackson, happy 50th birthday. You are a true bodybuilding legend. And guys, if you like these videos, give me a thumbs up. Also subscribe and hit that notification bell button. And that way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. All the love is appreciated, guys. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So for Xavier Wills, Desktop Bodybuilding, we are